Hey everybody, we have a lot of football to dive into, so let's just get right to it. So 2 days ago, Venezuela kicked off against Uruguay, and coming off of their loss against Mexico, in which the Uruguayan players were very upset about, felt that some calls didn't go their way. They went head to head with the La Tinto, who was coming off of a victory over the Jamaica 1-0. Now in this match, I really thought Uruguay was going to bounce back and get the 3 points they needed, but all the momentum was with Venezuela, and Venezuela were pretty much the only team on the field that wanted it more. Um, this whole Uruguayan campaign, the Copa America, has been marred with controversy with regards to Suarez playing or not, based on his hamstring injury. The Uruguayan FA criticizing the Copa America being held in the United States because of for over financial reasons, and a lot of complaining going on the Uruguayan side. Some of it justified, some of it not so much. Um, the match only had one goal. It was a rebound goal by Solomon Rondon when it hit the crossbar from an attempt at the halfway mark, which caught Uruguayan goalkeeper Fernando Muslera off guard. It was a beautiful shot. I thought it was going in, but Muslera just had a hand on it. And the Uruguayan defense was caught ball watching, and Solomon Rondon was right in the right place at the right time for the tap in, and that proved to be enough to win the game 1-0. Now, Edison Cavani did not have a good game. He had some really sloppy finishes. He really should have scored off the strike in the 89th minute. He had a chance again with a diving slide in the 93rd minute, right in the dying seconds of the game. And Uruguay were just both unlucky not to equalize, but also at the same time, the way they played, they didn't deserve to equalize. And I'm glad now that I changed my mind from a few months ago when I had Uruguay in the final against Argentina. I'm glad I changed that to Mexico-Argentina before the tournament started, because this would have been really embarrassing. Um, so, shockingly, Uruguay are the big upset elimination of the Copa America Centenario. They are now eliminated with both games, the first two games lost, and still a game to go against Jamaica. And I think this is a big shock. Nobody saw this coming. Even without Suarez, you still expected them to get through the group. But, I mean, upsets happen at the Copa America. And Venezuela have now 6 points and have qualified for the quarterfinals. Group C is pretty much wrapped up, except for just a matter of choosing who finishes first and who finishes second. Now that Mexico and La Tinto both have 6 points, it's going to come down to the final game between the two to determine who gets first and who avoids Argentina in the quarterfinals. Luckily for Mexico, they have a superior goal difference, so they just need a tie against Venezuela, and I think they should get at least a tie against Venezuela. So it's looking like most likely quarterfinal that we know almost for sure is going to be of the four quarterfinals. That is going to be Argentina versus Venezuela. Um, we're going to find out two more quarterfinal spots later today when Group A concludes with the United States taking on Paraguay and Colombia taking on Costa Rica. But yeah, I mean, as far as Uruguay goes, it looked like Suarez did not even know he wasn't going to play. You saw his reactions on the sideline. He was very angry. He was hitting the glass and throwing his shoes off. Um, that's really bad organization on behalf of Oscar Tabarez and the Uruguayan staff. They should have notified him beforehand he wasn't going to play, because you look at the sidelines, he was getting his shin guards on, his cleats on. He was getting ready to come on. And it looked like he just found out towards the end of the game that he wasn't going to be playing. So that's not right. If I were him, I'd be really pissed off too. But, you know. So in the other game, we had Mexico against Jamaica, and Mexico didn't actually look that strong because Jamaica had some decent chances to get on board first with the striker up forwards, Donaldson. I think that's his name, Donaldson. Missing some really good chances for the Reggae Boys throughout the entire match. It really should have drawn them level in the second half. Jamaica also had a penalty that was disallowed. It should have been a penalty. That could have made the game 1-1. But you can't blame Mexico for the referee's mistakes. and you just play on, you know. And that's what Mexico did. Mexico got a crucial goal off a substitute, Oribe Peralta, Juan Carlos Osorio. It looked like he was going to have a bad game and get a lot of criticism in the Mexican press, but the substitution that he made with Peralta coming on, it was a genius move. It got them another goal they needed to put the game away, and they got it. They won 2-0. That's the scoreline I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 2-0 Mexico, but Jamaica gave them a really hard fight. And hmm, oh. So yeah, that's it for those two games from yesterday, and I will comment later on the U.S. game. But in the meantime, there's really not much else to say for Group C because it's pretty much all wrapped up at this point. Mexico and Jamaica. Jamaica, revenge was just not in the cards for them, and they're eliminated, but they get a chance at redemption against Uruguay in the last match. Two eliminated teams playing against each other, and if Uruguay doesn't show up, they might finish bottom of this group. I mean, who knows? It's not a game that's really going to be worth watching since both teams are eliminated, unless you're a Uruguay or Jamaican fan. So, moving ahead, last night's games of the Copa America. Who else was shocked about the Bolivia-Chile result? Raise your hand. I thought Chile was going to walk over Bolivia, win 4-5-0, but that wasn't the case at all. Chile wasted so many opportunities to score, but at the same time, Bolivia put 8-9 guys behind the ball in the back to try to keep the scoreline 0-0, which they did until halftime. Chile they looked like a completely different team. They didn't look like the same team that played against Argentina last week. They may have been most of the same players in the field, but they played like it was a completely different squad. And they really had no excuse not to put the game away early on. But I mean, credit to Bolivia for their survival instincts and hanging on, and Lampe, the goalkeeper, for making some really good saves. So we saw that they pulled ahead with Arturo Vidal in the second half. Bolivia got one back through a goal by Yasmani Campos, and a very controversial penalty was awarded in the 98th minute. A lot of people saying it should not have been a penalty, but a lot of people justifying it, saying, well, it shouldn't have been a penalty, but Chile had a lot of penalty calls earlier in the game that Bolivia committed that the referee did not call. So the whole two wrongs equal a right justification sort of reasoning. And Arturo Vidal put it away, and heartbreakingly enough for Bolivia, it was another 2-1 loss, and it eliminated them from the tournament. Really, that referee decision saved Chile's skins. It really did. Because if Chile had tied Bolivia last night, they would have 1 point from their first two games. And despite the fact that Panama got destroyed by Argentina 5-0, Panama would still have 3 points. So going into Panama's last game, Panama would only need a draw against Chile. So it would be Panama in the driver's seat, not Chile. Chile would have much more pressure coming in, requiring a win against Panama. But since Panama lost to Argentina last night, and since Chile pulled off the last-minute controversial win over Bolivia, the roles have now been reversed. It's Chile who only needs a draw next week against Panama, and Panama who needs a win. And speaking of Panama, things did not go their way last night. Godoy got sent off with a red card. He's one of their best center forwards. He's very tall, very physically athletic guy. And Blas Perez picked up a second yellow, which means he's going to miss their last game against Chile. He's really the rock of the team, the main leader, who scored both of their goals against Bolivia last week in the first game. So they're not going to have Blas Perez or Felipe Godoy in their last game against Chile when they really need him. And a draw is not going to suffice. So I think Chile really, they have the upper hand here, whether they win or they tie. It looks like Chile is going to go through this group, but in very unconvincing manner. The last night's game, did anyone else think Messi's Viking beard looked really cool? He had a little red like fur going on. He looked like a Scandinavian. It was kind of funny. He pulled it off pretty well. Um, Messi had an awesome night. He got a hat trick, the first hat trick of the Copa America. Nobody yet has scored 3 goals in one game. Oh, excuse me. I think Felipe Coutinho did. So I stand corrected. So, but Messi scored them all within 25, 30 minutes of each other. He had an outstanding performance. His best goal of the night coming from the direct free kick from about 20 yards, I think, 25 yards from goal. He just curved that nicely into the upper left corner. Jaime Pinedo could do nothing about it. And later on, he scored another one where he dribbled around all of Panama's back line. That left foot of his is really dangerous. He came back in style last night. He doesn't look like he's suffering too much from his injury. That's a great thing. We're going to get to see more of him this tournament. I thought initially they should probably rest him some more, but Martino including him in the second half was the right decision. And they just destroyed Panama. Panama really didn't have any chance. They had the chance to get on the board around the 60th minute when Cooper broke away for the counterattack, and Quintero was saved. His attempt was blocked at the end by Javier Mascherano. Quintero really should have passed the ball. He got a little bit greedy. But Panama are now looking down into the abyss. They're not going to finish last in this group since they have 3 points. But it's a tough order ahead next week against Chile because they have to get another win. And without their 2 best players on the field, I think it's too tall of an order to ask for. So, really, last night, the results were relatively predictable. Argentina and Chile winning their games. The only surprise being that Chile did not win in a more convincing manner. I was really surprised Venezuela beat Uruguay, but you know what? Venezuela just played like they just wanted it more, and they deserve it fully to advance to the quarterfinals. Now, if only they could continue this form into World Cup qualifying, where they currently sit in last place in their group in South America. But, what can you do? So, those are my reactions to the 4 Copa games. We have 2 more Copa games later today, which I'll make a video on. Let's see, I already talked about France-Romania yesterday, the European Championship. Albania played Switzerland this morning. Switzerland got off to a great start with a goal by Fabian Schär. They took charge of the match early on. Looked like they were going to go on to win comfortably, but Switzerland got way too comfortable. They settled in the game too early. And when Albania picked up a red card with their captain, Lork Kana, I think Switzerland got too complacent. They got too confident. And they allowed Albania to keep pressing forward, create good chances, and to get more comfortable in the game, even despite being a man down. And honestly, for the rest of the game, especially in the second half, Albania were kind of a better team. Right at the end, they really should have scored. Gashi had an excellent shot on goal, but Switzerland was saved by Sommer, the goalkeeper. And much to the disappointment of the crowd, they only won the match 1-0. It was scoreless for 85 minutes after the first initial goal. Switzerland really, this was a game that they should have won by larger margin considering they had the extra man advantage. But credit to Albania for playing with a lot of heart. And it was interesting to watch because we got to see Tolant Xhaka play against his brother Granit Xhaka, who plays for Switzerland. Like I said, there's a lot of Albanians that play for Switzerland. So it was sort of like a homecoming reunion for a lot of the players on both teams. But at the end of the day, the result is what matters. Switzerland got to 3 points. And Albania has to play France in their next game, the host nation, without their captain. So we're going to have to see how that goes and see if Albania can rebound or if they're going to be heading for a second straight loss. Personally, I think they're going to be headed for a second straight loss unless they pull off a miracle against the French. But I wouldn't put it past them considering that France were relatively poor yesterday with the exception of Payet, who really was the star man who got them the 3 points against Romania because Romania, frankly, deserved a draw. Well, so that's it for the Euros. So right now, I think as I speak, currently Wales is playing Slovakia, so I'm gonna go watch that game, and then later on England plays Russia. So I'll watch those games, And I'll give commentary on it later, as well as I'll give a short preview later of the United States' game against Paraguay in the Copa America and Costa Rica versus Colombia. We have a lot of football this month, guys, with the European Championships and Copa America. So I'm going to do the best I can to talk about each match. Um, if I won't be able to watch every single match, I'll do my best to try to watch highlights of the games that I do miss. But I'm going to try to watch almost every game. And I'll let you know my thoughts on them, my expectations, my predictions, etc. And you're always welcome to share yours below in the comments section. And so, yeah, comment below, like, subscribe, share, get some feedback. What did you think of Venezuela's upset over Uruguay? What did you think of the Mexico-Jamaica game? What did you think of Chile almost being held to a draw by Bolivia? And what do you think of Messi's performance last night? So until then, peace out, and I'll see you later today, very likely. Have a couple more videos.